Good afternoon. The subject of today's lecture is pedagogical leadership and guidance in educational activities. Within contemporary education, leadership is not confined to administrative authority. It is expressed in the ability to guide learning, influence the educational environment, and direct collective effort toward meaningful academic aims. In this sense, pedagogical leadership concerns both organization and human interaction, since educational results depend not only on planning, but also on how teachers inspire, coordinate, and support others. Our task is to consider the concept of pedagogical leadership and clarify its role in the educational process. Attention is given to leadership models, their significance, and the development of decision making skills in pedagogical contexts through lecture, case analysis, and discussion. Pedagogical leadership may be understood as the ability of a teacher or educational leader to influence a group in order to achieve educational objectives. It includes purposeful interaction with students, colleagues, and the wider educational environment. From this perspective, leadership in education combines pedagogical and organizational dimensions, since it concerns both the management of learning and the development of conditions in which learning becomes effective. Several essential aspects define pedagogical leadership. Motivation is required to inspire students and colleagues toward achievement. Communication ensures that information, expectations, and guidance are conveyed clearly. Innovation enables the introduction of new methods and flexible approaches in education. Ethics provides the professional framework within which all pedagogical decisions must be made. Taken together, these aspects show that leadership in education is not a single skill, but a complex professional capacity. It involves influence, responsibility, and the ability to unite pedagogical purpose with sound professional judgment. Different models of pedagogical leadership reflect different ways of organizing influence in educational settings. The traditional model is based on authority and the hierarchical structure. The innovative model gives priority to creativity and flexibility. Collective leadership rests on shared responsibility and teamwork. Leadership through coaching places the leader in the role of mentor, with emphasis on developing independence in others. None of these models should be regarded as universally sufficient in itself. Their value depends on the educational context, the nature of the task, and the needs of participants. For that reason, pedagogical leadership requires discernment as much as authority. A practical illustration is provided through collective leadership in schools, where teachers, parents, and students participate jointly in decisions concerning teaching methods and school events. Such an example demonstrates that leadership may operate through cooperation rather than solely through formal control. At the same time, each model has its strengths and limitations. Traditional leadership allows for rapid decision making, yet it may restrict initiative and creativity. Innovative and collective forms of leadership offer greater flexibility, although they often require more time and coordination. This comparison makes clear that leadership must be chosen with regard to both efficiency and educational purpose. Within classroom management, leadership is expressed in several interconnected directions. It is evident in the organization of lessons and the monitoring of progress, in the establishment of trust, in the encouragement of student effort, and in the resolution of conflict. A teacher's leadership is therefore not limited to maintaining order. It also includes the creation of an atmosphere in which students are willing to participate, accept guidance, and work productively. Classroom management, in this sense, is not merely technical regulation. It is the practical manifestation of pedagogical leadership. Leadership in educational activities becomes visible through concrete pedagogical actions. Clear rules provide structure and define expectations. Trust is developed through fairness, consistency, and mutual respect. Feedback serves not only as evaluation, but also as a means of encouragement and direction. Conflicts are addressed through constructive methods such as open communication, mediation, and reflective discussion. These elements indicate that pedagogical leadership is sustained not by isolated decisions, but by the steady quality of the teacher's professional conduct in everyday educational practice. The practical task invites students to apply leadership models to specific pedagogical situations. One group considers the coaching model in the work of a history teacher seeking to improve student interaction. Another examines collective leadership in mathematics through the organization of group projects. A further point of reflection is the student's own subject context and the possible application of pedagogical leadership within it. Such work is important because leadership in education cannot remain merely theoretical. Its meaning becomes clearer only when it is translated into decisions, strategies, and concrete forms of pedagogical action. Several conclusions follow from the material considered. Pedagogical leadership plays a key role in organizing educational processes and influencing success. Different leadership models offer different advantages depending on context. For this reason, effective leadership in education requires adaptability and sensitivity to student needs, environmental conditions, and the aims of the learning process. Thus, leadership in pedagogy should be understood as a dynamic professional capacity rather than a fixed style of authority. Pedagogical leadership gives structure to the learning process, strengthens student motivation, and helps create an atmosphere in which participants feel recognized and valued. Its significance lies not only in directing activity, but also in shaping the conditions under which development becomes possible. From this perspective, leadership is inseparable from educational responsibility. It is one of the means through which the teacher influences both achievement and the broader character of the educational environment. Thank you for your attention. I hope today's lecture has clarified the place of pedagogical leadership in educational activity and has shown why leadership in teaching must be approached as a professional, ethical, and context-sensitive practice.